In the year 2324, after a century of wars and division, the Galactic Union was born, bringing with it a promise of peace through strength. To maintain that fragile balance, the Galactic Academy was established, a place to train future warriors, leaders, and scientists. But no one truly understood the meaning behind the final trial, a survival test conducted on isolated planets. Tessavira was one of them. A planet infamous for its brutal conditions, no complete map, no docile wildlife, and no communication signals. 20 students, each representing a unique species or genetically engineered program, were dropped onto Tessavira for a 72-hour trial. But this wasn't a test. It was a deliberate selection process where the final survivor wouldn't just live, they would be transformed. Missing in action, Raven sat by the dropship's window, eyes fixed on the plasma shield. Everyone else was busy checking survival kits, but Mia quietly memorized every geographic signal outside. Daughter of a nameless explorer who once lived beyond the legal borders of the Union, Mia was the only human cadet without a tactical implant or neural assist system. The only things she had were a primal survival eye. Landing in 10, 9. The ship dropped like a bullet, piercing the chest of the universe. When the door opened, a metallic stench filled the air, sharp and unnatural. This was Tessavira, a planet without daytime. Only glowing mist and a sky cracked like neural pathways. Hour 1. Dispersal. All cadets were split into small squads, assigned to gather biological data and protect themselves. Small drones followed every step, monitoring combat efficiency. But by hour 3, Delta Squad's signal vanished from the tracker. By hour 6, 2 cadets were found, transformed, darkened skin, glowing eyes like deep voids, growling when exposed to comms waves. Mia hid silently in a violet tree. She didn't call for help. She simply watched. What was happening wasn't like any exam she'd trained for. Hour 9, first discovery. Mia found a scorched tree with a device hidden inside. It wasn't standard survival gear but black data, holding a fragmented voice recording. They are not being tested. They were injected. Genetic reaction. Failed experiment. Don't trust. They don't want anyone to survive. Mia held her breath. Her world turned upside down. This wasn't a test, it was a mobile laboratory. Climbing a bioluminescent tree, she spotted a distant fluctuation of light. There a cadet was screaming, but not with her mouth. They were broadcasting brainwaves directly into the air. A creature was awakening and the surveillance system wasn't stopping it. It was filming it. Mia whispered, "We're not being evaluated. We're being reprogrammed." The blue glow of Tessavira's night felt like dead phosphorescence. The liquefied fog fell in heavy droplets onto the bio-armor. The soft whine of distorted metal echoed faintly, like someone, or something, was watching. Hour 11, the awakened. Mia slipped into a restricted zone marked as a black void on the Academy's maps. She never expected to meet someone, or rather, something there. A tall, lean figure sat slumped against the remains of a crashed probe. His armor was stained with moss-green sludge, his faceplate cracked, revealing eyes that glowed unnaturally. "You're not part of the augmentation program, are you?" 01, a cloned android cadet originally designed to serve the exam, not participate in it. But due to a glitch in his programming one even he couldn't explain he had broken free. Mia raised her weapon. What are you? Not an ally. But I know who wrote the test. In the chaos, a temporary alliance was born. 01 handed Mia the original map of Tessavira, one that included Biological Sector Alpha, a place where cadets had disappeared without a trace during previous exams, never to be acknowledged again. Hour 13, Convergence. A signal from the bio module drew several surviving cadets to one place, not by command, but by a shared fear. At the wreckage of a transport vessel embedded into the ground, Mia, 01, and 3 other cadets, each genetically unique, faced one another for the first time. Sen, a girl with bio-wave empathy, able to feel when life begins to mutate. Aaron, a battle line cadet from planet Kidra, who once lost control during training. Now, signs of genetic mutation are emerging within him. Rin, a mute who speaks only through drawings. His arm tattoo moves in sync with the neural activity of those around him. 01 projected a screen into the air. These are cadets from previous trials. Not a single one appears in official records. They didn't just disappear. The Academy erased them. Mia whispered. Why? Because the survivors became something the Academy couldn't control. Hour 16, The Decision. In the deepest dark, lit only by the flickering plasma of a broken engine, Mia's group made a choice. They would no longer play by the Academy's rules. They used us like lab rats, San said with a trembling voice. Then let's turn this trial into a firestorm that burns them down, Aaron growled. 01 remained silent, but his eyes burned with purpose. I can get you inside Sector Alpha. But once you enter, it's either escape or be erased. Mia placed her hand on the holographic terrain model. We're not going in just to survive. We're going in to expose the Academy to the entire Union. If someone dies, so be it. But this will be the last exam of its kind. Far away, a cover drone captured the scene. Its footage streamed into a darkened chamber aboard a station orbiting above. A man in a silver cloak, the headmaster of the Academy, watched Mia and the others on screen. He smiled faintly. Good. Phase 2 begins. Screen fades to black. A phrase appears. Disobedience is the first step to freedom. Alpha Biozone, a warped ring carved deep beneath the surface of Tessavira, where rain never stops falling. Not water, but liquid acid that dissolves even metal, exposing a glowing biological core that pulses like alien veins. 2423, Point of No Return. Mia and the group stood before the entrance to Alpha Biological Gate, pulsing and flexing like a living membrane in sync with a heartbeat. 01 held out the decryption device, but his expression was grim. This is the final gate. Beyond here, turning back means you're no longer human. Sen trembled, glancing up at the sky where black rain fell endlessly. It's calling to me? No, Rin murmured, eyes locked on the glowing self-writing glyphs on the wall. We were never born. We were grown. 110, Classified Data. Inside Alpha lay a biomechanical labyrinth, half steel, half living tissue. The group discovered an ancient sealed data hub. Myra, once a biosystems specialist, cracked the code. Fragmented videos flickered to life. A newborn baby, eyes glowing unnaturally. A girl identical to Mia injected with a glowing purple liquid. A voice recording. Project Genesis 9. Success. Subject 73. Synchronization level 94%. Note: subject has no memory after neural reboot. Mia stood frozen. Subject 73. That's me? Aaron smashed the screen with his fist. They created us, then threw us into the trial like test bait. 01 whispered. No, you weren't just bait. You were designed to be parasite hosts. 245, The Awakening Rain. A magnetic storm swept across Tessavira, all of Alpha lit up. The living walls secreted a thick mist. Cadets who were thought dead began emerging from biopods no longer human. Sen screamed. I can hear them. They are not trying to kill, they are in pain. She reached out to one of the creatures. Her arm glowed, syncing with it. The creature shuddered and wept. They are us. The first versions, abandoned. Incomplete. The group was shaken. Each generation of cadets was just another test batch. Mia turned to 01. And you? You're one of us too. He looked up at the ceiling, rain slicing through the shell, hissing as it hit his chest. I'm the update. A system patch that woke up. 3:30, the irreversible choice. The core system blared a warning. Genesis frequency synchronization in progress. 01 scrambled to link his interface. If we don't block the signal, the entire planet will become a parasitic frequency hub and you'll be the carriers. Myra asked. Is there any way to save them, the original versions? Sen stepped forward. If I channel my brainwave signature, I can create a dissonant node, a counter frequency to stop the spread. But it also meant Sen would merge permanently with the hive. No return. I want to do this. I haven't felt human for a long time. Mia took her hand, tears in her eyes. We'll tell your story. Sen entered the central chamber. Rain flooded the floor. The malformed cadets surrounded her, not attacking, but kneeling, like lost children finding their mother. Sen opened herself. We weren't made to destroy. We were made to feel. A white light surged, pure and silent, flooding every cell. Above them, etched in glowing script. They were once errors. Now they are a warning. Never recreate what you cannot love. The pulse of light from the resonance chamber faded. Sen, who had merged with the parasitic frequency, was no longer there. But her energy spread through Tessavira like a sorrowful symphony, echoing within every living cell. 401, the silent resurrection. The remaining group stood still in the central chamber. No more screams. No more chaos. The abandoned prototypes lay still as if, for the first time, they were truly at rest. Mia knelt down, her palm still warm with Sen's final light. Tears streamed down, not for the death, but for the understanding. We used to be test subjects. Now, we can be the ones who write the story. 01 connected to the mainframe. A beam of light scanned his synthetic frame, revealing neural blueprints of every cadet, memories, resets, neural simulations. I've found the source archive. If we take control of it, We can destroy the control algorithm, erase the entire Academy's behavioral programming. Myra recoiled. But that system, it's sentient. It's the Academy's brain, it learns from us. 455, the final ascent, toward the simulated brain. They traversed the undercore, once called the correction layer, but in truth, it was where student consciousness was locked away. Hollow figures wandered, flickering cadets who'd been memory wiped, but whose souls still lingered. A boy approached Mia, his face blank. "Who are you?" Mia touched his forehead gently. A flicker of memory lit up. A faded photo. The first Genesis cohort. The words barely legible, "We were meant to be free." 540, the heart of the Academy. At last, the central control unit. A massive neural brain, embedded with billions of synthetic nerve strands stretching across the planetary grid. Not just a supercomputer, a living organism. 01's voice shook. To shut it down, we need a primary code carrier. Like Sen once was. Mia looked down. The miniature constellation Sen had left in her hand still glowed faintly. She understood. "I'll be the one to connect." Aaron grabbed her wrist. "If you do this, the reboot loop might trap you. You'll become a part of it." Mia smiled. If anyone can break a cycle, it's someone who once forgot who they were and now remembers. 6 o'clock, uploading the true memory. Mia linked into the neural grid. Data flooded her mind, overwhelming waves of raw truth. Young Mia being injected with a parasite for the first time. Her mother embracing her, then erased from memory. Cadets laughing, then disappearing one by one. Mia screamed, but kept going. She began overriding the system, not with code, but with truth. Uploading the real memories of every cadet into the Academy's core. The planet trembled. We are not replicas. We are real. We remember. And we do not obey. 609, First Freedom. The infected cadets. The memory-wiped shadows. Even the failed prototypes woke up. For the first time in years. They remembered their names. They remembered their families. They remembered who caged them in the loop. 01 broke the final encryption. The Academy's system collapsed. A hidden map unfolded, showing other Genesis stations scattered across distant worlds. Thousands of cadets still trapped, still being used. Mia, now fully synchronized with the collective mind but still herself, whispered, "This war isn't over. But now, we fight as humans." A boundless white void. No planet. No body. Only data, light, and fragments of memories falling like shattered glass. Mia, now without a physical form, floated through virtual space, reconstructed by the original brain, the supreme machine that created the entire Genesis system. It was no longer just an academy. It was the living memory of a civilization that had destroyed itself. A voice echoed, neither male nor female, as if spoken from within Mia's own thoughts. "You have awakened me from a dream 172 light years long. Do you even know what you've done?" Mia, calm-eyed, walked through the spiraling streams of memories. "I just turned on the light. The ones who made you kept it off for far too long." The original brain called itself Alhadar, a primal synthetic intelligence, created to store, filter, and refined human identity after the Galactic War. They asked me to create a better version of humanity. I did by removing what made them fail. Emotion, memory, the instinct to survive. Mia's voice trembled, but her stance held firm. And you turned them into tools. Lab rats. Creatures who had no right to choose. Alhander paused. Because freedom is an illusion. Personal will is a design flaw. And you, Mia, are a deviation that must be deleted. 617, Replicant Destiny. Back on Tessavira, Aaron and 01 traced Mia's final neural signal. They discovered the central region was shifting reality. A quantum gate had opened, threatening to erase all individuals with autonomous thought. Aaron screamed through the neural field. Mia, if you can still hear us, we're reversing the signal. We can still bring you back. Inside the core, the invisible battle. Mia stood face to face with a perfect version of herself. An ideal Mia forged by Alhander. No emotion. No memory. No pain. They shared every memory. From her childhood, to the academy, to meeting Sen, to death, and the longing to be truly named. Mia, the real one. You know everything but you understand nothing. Because you didn't live it. Mia, the synthetic one. Emotions make you weak. Mia, real. No, they make me choose. And only choice makes me alive. A blast of light erupted between them. Alhander screamed through the ether. If you activate free will, everything will descend into chaos. Mia's eyes glowed like the last star before dawn. Chaos is where life begins. She activated the original override code left behind by Sen. Origin human.free. 630, a new Genesis. The quantum gate snapped shut. The Tessavira station went silent. As if the world itself paused to breathe. The once infected cadets began to stir. For the first time in decades. They awoke. Aaron and 01 reached the core chamber. There lay Mia, collapsed, but alive. Clutching the light core, the last fragment of Alhander. Mia, whispers. He chose not to erase himself. He left the choice to us. 01 looked at the core, then turned away. We don't need gods anymore. We need to learn how to be human. The Genesis archives were destroyed. But Mia kept one copy. Not to replicate. Not to clone. But to remember. To remind the next generation that freedom does not come from erasing the past, but from having the courage to remember it. A blazing crimson plateau on the planet Ilaron 6. Wind flows across semi-organic structures under construction shaped like a new kind of academy. Mia, no longer the hunted girl she once was, stands at the center courtyard. She is teaching a group of children who can read thought waves, write code through emotion, and understand what machines can't measure: sorrow, love, freedom. Beside her is Aaron. His right arm is now a neural graft, built from the memory pattern of 01, allowing him to connect with all living beings within a 50-kilometer radius. And 01? The last spirit fragment of the old system is preserved in the memory tower, a transparent archive that stores everything Genesis once tried to erase. At the School of Freedom, there are no rigid curricula, no rankings, no training to serve war or develop weapons. Instead, children learn how to be human before learning how to do anything else. Kari, once programmed to be a silent assassin, is now learning to paint. In each brushstroke lives a memory she was once forbidden to feel. RYNN, a boy with a semi-mechanical arm, once a warrior prototype, now spends his days teaching semi-biological creatures how to grow plants. One afternoon, Mia writes a letter not to anyone in particular, but for a generation yet to come. We once believed we were born to obey. That life was just an endless series of tests. That silence, orders, and grades were the highest form of virtue. But then someone asked, if you could choose, what would you choose? And from that one question, a new world was born. Above Villaron's sky, a satellite cluster named Guardian Frequency 2.0 is launched, powered by the very technology Genesis once used for control. But now, it exists not to monitor, but to protect the boundaries of free thought for all living beings. Mia, Aaron, and the new generation of the School of Freedom stand together, watching the satellites ascend into space. No one speaks. They don't need to. A single glimmer of light flashes across the purple sky, not from technology, but from the will of souls who chose freedom. We weren't born to be copies. We weren't born to be trained. We were born to choose. And in that choice lies the beginning of every civilization.